Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is Javier with the real Javier Novoa. Unfortunately, I was not able to do some of my hoped for and planned for videos due to the fact that we had to leave town. There was a death of someone close to us, and we had to attend the funeral and the wake. And I just wanted to take a moment to use this as an illustration to drive home the principles that we have been discussing, and that is the importance of Stoicism in particular, and philosophy and spiritual exercises in general, because life on this film roll is going to throw curveballs at you, and it is by definition unexpected, unknown, and there are things that will come towards you that are unknown and unprepared for. And we can discuss why that is. Neville Goddard goes into this, and I think he goes into reference to other idealist philosophers who have illustrated these principles theoretically and philosophically, where he goes into the fact that when you focus upon something and then you bring something about in the physical world, that automatically introduces other factors that are then upset by the coming together of that picture. And then you go beyond that and you imagine new factors and so on and so forth. There's never a complete balancing of factors, because once factors are balanced in your life, and what I mean by that is everything is perfect to the way that you want it to be, there can be no more life. And there are philosophical arguments for that. But just know that there's no perfection in this experience, and indeed, you would not want there to be. So, of course, there's complete perfection when we're able to go up that scale of being to the spiritual and to the divine. And that's what a lot of the tools in this course train you and prepare you to do. There's one tool in particular that I want to go in today, and we have discussed this before, but I want to bring it home and to discuss it and illustrate it as we have never illustrated that before. This is the one tool that, and I hesitate even to call it a tool, because it is simply reverting back to who you truly are. It is reverting back to your being. It is reverting back to the core of your divinity and of your spirit, and it is what the Stoics wrote about. It is indeed the sword of the emperors, and I call it the sword of the emperors because the Stoic Emperor Marcus Aurelius wrote very presciently and very charismatically about it, and very exhaustively about it. And I want to go into this, and this is what we can call Stoic Mindfulness or Stoic Presence. And it is found in every tradition, because indeed on this channel we do teach the perennial philosophy. And of course the point of our teaching all of this is for real effects on the ground. It is towards your massive success. But sometimes when you're not emotionally there, because all of our creating and all of the playing with energy that we do in this film roll needs to be toward the upper levels of the scale. It needs to be inspired from higher spirit, from your inner being. Otherwise, it's being inspired from the lower levels of the scale. And then you get results that you don't want, and you get stuck in that cycle of negativity until you can raise yourself out. So basically what I wanted to do is I wanted to read a portion of the meditations in which Marcus Aurelius illustrates this and talks about this. And then I want to go into how we can really practice this. So this method of presence, and what Marcus Aurelius calls circumscribing the present, which is also synonymous with circumscribing the true self, which is the imperturbable self, which resides in the highest recesses of the mind as the Stoics understood it. This is, many spiritual teachers refer to it as the deductive method, because we're not trying to move up, but rather in an instant we can go there. And we can go there simply by figuring out what it is that is present to us. So I want to find the exact quote of the great Emperor Marcus Aurelius because it's so full of wisdom and so illustrative of what we want to talk about here. We can probably hopefully cut out this part of the video. But here's something that touches upon this. It says, everywhere and at all times it is in thy power piously to acquiesce in thy present condition, and to behave justly to those who are about thee. And of course, acquiescing in the present condition means to be completely present with that and not to evaluate it in a way that that goes into or that allows for the thought, woe is me, or a thought of evil happening to me to penetrate that or to intermix with that. And then behaving justly, which means putting everything in its proper place and its proper perspective, then automatically flows from that. He also says, look round at the courses of the stars as if thou wert going along with them, and constantly consider the changes of the elements into one another, or such thoughts purge away the filth. For such thoughts purge away the filth of the terrene life. And why is that? Because when we're mindfully looking, usually at the most neutral or beautiful spectacles of the universe, we usually are able to turn off our thoughts and turn off our evaluations, and therefore the truth of our inner being, the truth of ourself, which is pure joy, comes to the fore. Here's another great statement. He says, retire into thyself. The rational principle which rules has this nature, that it is content with itself when it does what is just, and so secures tranquility. And what is just means, again, justice, which is putting everything in its proper place, which is automatically done, as he says in another passage, by the well-ordering of the mind. And that is the silencing of the evaluative thoughts. And indeed, we will learn that we can silence all thoughts without effort by being completely present and circumscribing the present. And this is mindfulness, or Stoic mindfulness, which is the key to getting everything you want. You can lay aside all other tools if you practice this. Of course, we'll want to implement the other tools for fun, but this is it in a nutshell. This is, ladies and gentlemen, the elixir of the mystics, the apple of the eye of the philosophers. He says, wipe out the imagination, stop the pulling of the strings, confine thyself to the present, understand well what happens either to thee or to another. Divide and distribute every object into the causal and the material. Think of thy last hour. Let the wrong which is done by a man stay there where the wrong was done. This means stop focusing upon your imagination for a while when it is in that momentum of negativity and simply going with the flow of that. You can stop it. Stop pulling the strings. Stop thinking for a while. Confine thyself to the present. Be completely focused upon the present moment, and we're going to illustrate that here for all of us. Understand well what happens either to thee or to another, meaning understand the true nature of it, that it is all illusion, that all of the causal chains of this illusion or existence are themselves illusory, and the true causation is within. think of thy last hour, which means think of the fact that this is all ephemeral, because you will have a last hour, therefore this is all temporary, therefore whatever is bothering you pales in comparison with the eternity before you. And then divide and distribute every object into the causal and the material. So whatever is happening in the 3D or in the world of Caesar is not the cause. The true cause is the inner being, and you can get in touch with that at any moment through the deductive method that we're pursuing here. So let there fall externally what will on the parts which can feel the effects of this fall. For those parts which have felt will complain if they choose. But I, unless I think that what has happened is an evil, am not injured, and it is in my power not to think so. That's powerful. So whatever happens to your very body, whatever happens to your body, whatever happens on the outside, or indeed even on the inside, let those members complain, and your mind will say and will react to it and say that hurts. But do not you evaluate that as an evil, and it's within your power to do that, and therefore it is within your power to be in complete bliss. Ladies and gentlemen, that is the sword of emperors. That is Stoic mindfulness. And I want you to experience it. And for those of us who have experienced it, I want us to experience it again and again. How can we do that? We do have a video in this course for how to get into alpha. But there's even resistance in seeking to get into alpha. You will automatically get into alpha once you stop the evaluation. And you can do that by simply focusing. So I want you to just sort of sit up straight. Just relax wherever you are. I want to show you how easy it is to do this. First, I want you to just notice that you're breathing. A lot of us simply take our breathing for granted. We don't notice it. Don't even try to control it. Just notice that you're breathing. In another area of the meditations, Marcus Aurelius talks about how, just as in a piece of music you can focus on the present note, or in a dance you can simply focus on the present moment, you can focus on the very thin slice that is the present moment. And no matter what is happening, you can always tolerate just simply this present moment. You should be ashamed, he said, if the mind cannot tolerate simply this aspect of the very present moment. For in this present moment, nothing is befalling you or happening to you that you fear. You have to go back into the past to be sorrowful about something that happened, or you have to move to the future to fear something that's going to happen. But in this present moment, if you could just be with your breath. You can already feel your body just calming down, but even if it's not, it doesn't matter, because you can just be there with that. And the present moment can deal with that. It can all be held by presence. Then I want you to just look around. You can look at the furniture, the colors. You can hear the sounds. Now, I want you to go into this question. Can you see anything that is not now? Can you hear anything that is not right now, that is not this second? Or this fraction of a second? Your mind will say, but I was given notice I have to leave my apartment in 15 days, let's say. Or I can't pay my rent. I don't know how I'm going to pay this bill. But can you see that now? Right this second? Well, no. I can't see it or hear it. Then presumably it doesn't exist. So is there anything threatening you or lacking right this second? Are there any problems this second? I just want you to feel that presence. And you can do this as many times in the day that you wish. You should do this, and your body will just naturally attain that state of alpha, that state of equilibrium, and you can live like this. You can focus, even when you're doing something, you can just focus intensely upon it. And it's that focus that brings you into a state of what we call flow. I just wanted to share this with you and to allow people who have not experienced it to experience it. This is Stoic Mindfulness. This is what's called the sword of presence, or the sword of the emperor, because it cuts everything that is unnecessary, everything that is extraneous, everything that is superfluous rather, everything that is superfluous and that doesn't matter. The only thing that matters is you being in touch with your inner being right now. And then all outer conditions will come into complete alignment. I promise you, and you will experience that. So ladies and gentlemen, practice Stoic mindfulness. Be present. And ask yourself, is there anything lacking now? Thanks for watching. If you find value in my materials, please subscribe and like. We are coming up with a special episode of the JN show. It's going to go into AI and the effects and also the opportunities of that. And we're going to be releasing more videos on spirituality and philosophy and Stoicism and mysticism and the perennial philosophy and how we can apply that for massive success in life and business. I will be back tomorrow, and until next time, I'll see you all very soon. Thanks for watching.